Okay, today we're back with the 2001 Acura EL, and I'm going to have to pull off one of the front struts that I just replaced and check the top, because it's a 2001 Acura EL. It's the same as the Honda Civic. You can tell by the taillight pattern. I didn't replace the springs. I just replaced the struts, and I have a feeling that tops had to go on a specific way. It doesn't talk about that in any of the books, so we're going to check that out. Okay, the wheel is off and the car is jacked up. Always make sure you block your car with wooden blocks or jack stands to be safe. First thing you can do is take off the brake calipers. This can be done easily with an impact rather than trying to fight with a socket to get it in there. Don't take this off yet, because you got to undo the bracket here where it's attached to the brake line is attached to the strut. Then you can set the whole caliper to the side. Okay, so that would be this bracket here, and then we're going to undo the ABS sensor bolt here. I'll just do those right now, really quick. First one is the brake line bolt. Okay, brake line bolt is out. You can take the caliper off. You can set it to one side, out of the way. Next one is your ABS electric line bracket. Okay, the next thing to do is to disconnect the steering tie rod end, So you have to pull this cotter pin out of here. Keep it. I'm going to tell you not to reuse it and get a new one every time. However, I'm going to keep mine and reuse it. I'm telling you not to do that, just for the sake of safety. And once you get this nut off and this cotter pin out, I'll show you how to separate that without damaging anything. Okay, my method for separating the tie rod end is to get the second. This is the first jack that's holding up the car along with the blocks of wood. Get a second jack here, put in a 4x4 straight up and leave the nut on the end of the ball joint stud. So now the jack I'll be jacking on will be jacking the car up. We'll be jacking the car up on using the ball joint stud to actually jack it up. So like so. So when I jack the car up, it lifts the whole weight of the car onto the tie rod end. Watch the jack, it could kick backwards. Mine's on wheels, so stay out of its way. Don't go too high, just go high enough so that the car doesn't come off the blocks. But you want to get some fair amount of weight on it. Then just take a hammer. I had to put the camera down to be able to hit it hard enough with the hammer, but you can take some pretty good swings. Really good hard swings. Watch you don't miss and hit this. And it'll just pop apart just like that. Now I can release the jack. Take this out of here. When I pop this nut off, it just comes apart. Move it out of the way. Okay, the next thing you want to do is use your spring compressors to compress this spring so you can get the strut out of here. Notice I haven't taken off the lower two strut to wheel mounting bolts and nuts yet. I don't have a spring compressor, so I jack it back up to compress the spring. Just high enough so I'm not lifting the car. There. So I'm starting to lift the car, so I'll stop. And now I'm going to use a ratchet strap thing to hold the spring compressed, and then I'm going to release the jack. Okay, with all the weight of the car on this jack, so I've got the spring fully compressed. I've taken a ratchet, not a ratchet, but just a strap, attached it to the second coil down, the highest one I can reach, came down with the strap under the bottom of the strut, back up the other side here, and I've hooked it onto the spring on the opposite side, the highest coil I can reach. So now when I release the jack, you'll see the spring will stay compressed and all the tension will be on that ratchet strap. So I'm going to release the jack slowly. Okay. Now this strap sounds like a guitar because it's got the majority of the spring compression on it. You can see up inside. See how it's pulled the top two coils way apart, and then the bottom two are severely compressed. Okay, now you can go ahead and remove these bottom two here and pull out. Oh, then you got the three bolts under the hood, and you can pull the strut out. So I'll do these two next. Okay, we're just removing the bottom two. And you can see they're nice and tight. Okay, so the strut is now separated from the drive shaft, or from the wheel housing. Be careful that you don't allow this wheel to pull too far this way, or it'll pull apart the inner ball joint and give you grief. Okay, now we have to take off under the hood these three nuts, this one, and this one, and catch the strut as you do it because it'll fall out. There's the three nuts. Now the strut just comes right out. Place it to the side and secure this. Secure this from coming too far out, like I just had it stuck there, because it did travel too far. It can only fall that far now, so it can't come apart on the inside. Well, supposedly. Okay, the reason I took this strut back off, you can see it's a brand new strut, and I disassembled it like this before, and I just put the new spring on, and I tried to put this top piece back on as close as I thought it should be to where the original one came off. Then I started thinking about it, and if you look at the top of this, I don't know if you can see that very clearly or not, it's definitely not, the seat on the top here is not parallel with the part where the spring sits. So it's angled on purpose because of the camber of the strut on the car, or caster, or whatever it is, or both. So when the car turns a corner, this turns an appropriate angle. So when I put it back together, you can see here, the new spring I put on was sitting right there. You can see the new shiny black mark ends right there. The old spring I took off was sitting right here. So I'm out by about 1 inch here. So it's important to put it back. So this part of the spring goes back where the old spring was. This is the old spring in the old part, but when I put it together, I accidentally shifted the spring backwards this far. And that twists this top piece in relation to the steering knuckle. It twists this angle, shifts this angle around the corner. So I don't know what it does, but it's not correct. So I'm going to straighten that back up, make sure this top piece goes exactly where it came off on this. The top part of the spring goes exactly where it came off on this top spring boot or spring cap, and then tighten it all back together. That was my mistake. That's why I'm taking it apart.